there's a difference between being in a job that you need to pay the bills, but you feel like that's all you're ever going to do, as opposed to being in a job and knowing that it is a stepping stone to something else and that eventually things will start to move in the direction you want, and always looking for those messages from the universe, or those indications that this is a time to move into something new. And that's literally what this new moon is saying. I hope you're doing well. Well, I'm back again to talk about the new moon happening, and it's going to be happening either the 7th or the 8th of May, depending upon where you live in the world, because it's kind of late in the day for some people. So it's a really interesting new moon, and it has a correlation with a triple conjunction that we had back in August 1st, 2022. So whatever was happening in your life, this might be an ending of a cycle, or it could be something where you're bumping up a cycle or something like that, because we also do have the gate 42 activated for this particular new moon. So if we look at the sun in the gate 2 line 6, and that is exactly where the triple conjunction happened back in August of 2022. It's an interesting line in that it really talks about this idea of sticking with something that may not necessarily be something you love anymore, but financially it is a lot of abundance that comes in, and you just don't know if you can move into something that maybe you love, that maybe you feel will make you happy. But again, there's this connection with, is it going to be okay financially? So that's what this energy is really bringing. So it's really the story of, you've heard of people who might have had a very high paying job in corporate or business in some sort, and they decided that they wanted to downsize or to move into something that they knew would make them happy, or they always wanted to do, or sometimes they would open a bakery or something like that. And this is sort of that same type of energy. Now with Mercury in the gate 42 line 2, this is sort of bringing this message of the ending or maximizing the benefits, or you can liken the gate 42 as an end of a cycle for sure. But the other perspective is, it could be something like you have a cycle, maybe you have a fruit tree and you're giving it a lot of vitamins and minerals and all the things that the fertilizer that and the fruit tree's been around for a while, and you're giving it what you can so that you can get the maximum benefits from the last harvest, because you think that, well, this is sort of it's gone its cycle, and now we're sort of going to have to plant a new tree. Alternatively, it could be something that you've been working on, and you want to level up, or you want to sort of use that platform that you've built. So what this is basically saying that is that there is potential for an ending of a cycle, and this could be related to your direction in life, where you've been going, where you've been putting your energy, where you've been, working really hard, and maybe it just doesn't feel like it's correct for you anymore. What this is saying is that there is an opportunity for you to move out of this direction and move into something else. And ultimately, it doesn't matter if you decide to stick with a job that pays more money, or you decide to move into something that you might feel makes you happier. It is always our choice to decide what we want to do. This is just bringing up the theme of deciding what feels correct for you. And, with Mercury in the gate 42 line 2, this is telling us that it is going to be called out of us. So somebody might say to you, are you tired of that job? I mean, have you had your fill with it? Because, it just seems like more stress, and I remember a long time ago, I had somebody who I did a reading for, and I remember they had a job where they were making a lot of money, but they said they didn't feel like they were fulfilled, and they truly wanted to do something creative. And I can't remember what it was, if it was sewing or something, but they didn't want to do it, and they said they couldn't do it because the money was like, how could you let go of the money with a defined will center, especially, since the will center is controlled by basically tribal energy, except for we right now for this particular new moon, and going for the next little while until the nodes shift on the 11th of May, we're going to have the full 2551 channel. And this is sort of bringing the spirituality into the resources, or the abundance, or the money that is made from the will center. And so it really does, with this new moon, bring this kind of a spiritual approach. And we could say that the spiritual approach is not necessarily being so spiritual, or having a spiritual practice that really makes you feel good. And yes, that could be part of it, but alternatively we could look at this as spirituality as being aligned with what feels good to you, being aligned with your flow, being aligned with the universe, basically, and like having a spiritual connection where you need to go. So it's not really based in something that is like a system, but it's more based in this inner knowing of aligning with your truth and allowing it to guide you along the path that feels correct for you. So it's almost like this new moon is preparing us, because this will be the last time we have this full channel between the North Node and Neptune. And just in time for the full moon, it will come again. We'll have a sort of a break in between. But what this is really trying to show us is it's trying to awaken you to your purpose, your life, your direction, especially with the gate 2 line 6 being activated. And when we get to the sixth line, this is always going to be a little different than the energy of the gate. And it's always going to be, I want so much more than just, this A, B, and C. I don't want to have, I don't want to go to work every day and feel like, yes, okay, I'm doing okay, it's all good. I want to go to work and I want to feel engaged and happy and feel inspired by what I'm doing. And that's what this energy is bringing. And then when you bring in the Earth is in the gate 1 line 6, but also Jupiter's in the gate 8. So we have the full channel for the creative role model. It does bring this energy of individuality, about deciding that you want to express yourself, you want to be who you want to be, as opposed to conforming to the expectations or conforming to the world that may have said that you need to be this and you can't be that other thing that maybe you've always had a desire to be. So it's kind of pushing this energy to say, okay, you have an opportunity to change your direction. And the cool thing about this is it will be called out of you. Someone will bring it to your attention and show you the possibility of what you could do or be if you decided to shift your direction. And what's really cool between Mercury in the gate 42 line 2 and also the Earth in the gate 1 line 6 is that um, they both have this idea of being able to see something that not necessarily everyone else can see, like a trend or what might be fruitful. So with the activation of the full 1/8 channel, it's giving us this ability to see something that maybe other people can't see. Now, the reality is this, it's all about awareness. It's all about seeing what is there for you, as opposed to just buzzing along through life and not really looking at the path you're walking. And that's what a lot of people do. You go the same path, you do the same thing every day, and you don't notice things that actually might be very impactful in your life. And what this is saying is that if you are open and aware, there might be some indications of things that might be sort of going to be important in the future, trends and this idea of what's going to be a fad and what's going to be a trend, what is fruitful, what isn't, and what cycles could be beneficial, because the gate 42 line 2 is being able to see a cycle that will potentially bear fruit. And then the gate 1 line 6 kind of adds into that energy. So we have Jupiter expanding this because it is connecting to the gate 1. And so we have this ability to see what might be fruitful, to step into something that is brand new, that is a little scary, that you may not know how it's going to turn out. And that is always the biggest caveat for everything we do, that where we're letting go of something and we're moving into uncharted territory. If you look at this whole new moon and sort of going through the month of May, it really is about a lot of mutative individual energy. And it's saying that you may not know the path of how your direction will shift your life. You probably won't know the path. You might have one piece of this whole pathway forward. And as you move forward, you get another piece, and that is the path of mutation. And it is not like logic. It's logic is about, you have a pattern, you go from A to B to C, and you know that this is going to happen. If you want the predictability of logic, then this isn't what is available. This is where you are getting signs. This is where, if you are open and aware, there is something to indicate that the path is there for you if you wanted to take it. The other perspective is we have Venus in the gate 24, line 4, and this is more individual energy, but the theme that comes here, it all relates back to, a lot of this new moon really does talk about the work you do, your career, how you make your money. It could be relationships as well, because, Venus is there as well. Really talking about this idea of, if you are making a decision to change your life and to shift your trajectory in a place where you don't really know where you're going to land, which is the case for mutation, which is always the case for individuality. Asking people to align with what you believe to be true, because you might have this feeling inside of you that this is correct for you, because that's usually how mutation works. It's like this feeling of, I can't explain it, I don't know why, but I just know that I need to go this way. If you see the perspective of Uranus in the gate 23, this is half of the 2343 channel, and this is about I know or I don't know. So I know comes from this deep mutation of this feeling of, yes, this is where I'm supposed to go, but I can't explain it. So if you bring people into your circle and want them to align with what you want to say, that may not necessarily work out, because you can't logic it. You can't explain it in a way where people can understand. As soon as you go into some sort of a creative adventure or a creative path, immediately you have people who have a lot of patterns and logic asking, so where are you going with this? And how much will you make with this? And what's the long-term game? As soon as you have all these strategy, kind of strategic energy about where the direction of this mutation is going, then it becomes a little scary, because you think, well, maybe I can't do it. Maybe there is no hope for this. Maybe there isn't anything that I can really do. And so that's why Venus in the gate 24, line 4 is encouraging you to be in your own space, to let the energy flow through you, to let the knowing flow through you, and it will let you know what is correct for you. As soon as people infiltrate your space and your energy, then suddenly you are looking at it from a very strategic, logical way, as opposed to a individual mutative way, because literally, as I said, right now, it's all about mutation. It's all about individuality. It's all about being different and being revered for being different, because that's what people are sort of looking for. And we have exactly one logical gate and the whole new moon, and that is Mars in the gate 17, line 3. So Mars here in the gate 17, line 3 might be about, let's move forward, let's get it done, let's just move on. But ultimately, if we look at individual energy, it is always something that is a slow process that slowly blooms, slowly unfolds, and just kind of shows you the path. So if one day you're doing, this job, and yet you want to do something different, this is about using your strategy and authority and saying, okay, these are indications that now is the time to move. But with Mars in the gate 17, line 3, the one thing to remember is that there might be this push to just move on, to get something started, and just and not really think about the details. And individuality is very mutative energy. So the one thing that we know is that it takes time to gain a foothold. So if you decide that you want to open your own bakery, and you're working a job right now, and then one day you just say, well, I'm going to quit this right now and I'm going to start a bakery. So this is about finding clarity before you make a major move, deciding how you can do it. Because even if we want to have a creative path, even if we want to do something that only we can do, even if we want to express our individuality, there's always going to be the real world, concrete, material perspective of how can we make it happen. And it can happen, but sometimes it will take a little bit longer than we plan for. But always to be open and aware and ready for that moment when that new opportunity shows up, and to make your dreams realized. And especially with Pluto in the gate 41, line 1, you have to get sort of a foundation, to build on that foundation, to begin where you are and to slowly start to move in the direction. And that's really what Saturn in the gate 22 is saying as well. It is saying that, this type of thing, these types of things that you always wanted to do in your life, they take time to become what you want them to be. So overall, this new moon is really talking about the idea of, if you want to shift your direction or your trajectory in life, this is a time to start looking at ways that that might be able to happen. Take your time, find the clarity, and move in the direction that feels good for you. So the overarching message is always going to be balance with all things. And that means that we live in a material world where we need the things to survive, the abundance that we need, but we also want to be happy. And how to find the middle way to find the happiness that you want, but also to feel that you are going to be supported on the way to your creative endeavor. So with that said, I hope you have a wonderful new moon. And until next time, take care and bye for now.